bring the people in the settlements, for example? Which are the reactions of the people?
Well, the first reaction is, wow, I want to live here. Because this is what I say also, because it's so beautiful. Like, it's very, they have large houses and it's cheap there and they have very nice view and, the settlements are nice. It's like, it's not like living in the city. I think they feel jealousy, first of all, because I think it's a main thing about the occupation, that it's economical. People make profit of it. People want to keep on occupying the territories because they can build settlements and they can have cheap houses and they can have a cheap labor of the Palestinians. They don't have civil rights and they don't have to pay them like minimum salary like they have to pay Israelis, and people make a lot of profit of it, and the land is cheaper, so they can make industrial areas over there, and many industries inside Israel, they have factories in the occupied territories because the land there is cheaper, because because a lot of people don't want to buy there because it's not a legal part of the state of Israel. So the price gets lower, and then people take advantage of it. And what I feel very frustrating is that a lot of times the settlers they consider themselves very idealistic, and they think they really sacrifice something, and they feel they're heroes for living there, and for me it's like lying, because they're not saying the truth part about all the profit they have from it. Like, they live in very large houses that cost them a very low price, and they have all these other benefits from the government. The government encourages the settlements, so they give them cheaper gas and cheaper buses and cheaper education and a lot of stuff. So it's very worthwhile to live there.
Why?
The government, because the government is right-wing, like Bibi, and now we have, I think it's the most right-wing government that the Israeli state had ever had. So,
what does right?
Right-wing? Oh.
Okay.
But I know in Israel it's a little different than in the rest of the world, because I know in the rest of the world right-wing and left-wing is mostly economical terms, right?
No, okay.
Not really? Not in Italy? It's also about refugees and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know much about it. Anyway, in Israel, it's all about the territories. It's like all the politics are around the question of the occupation, because this is the question in Israel for the past 43 years, even though the country exists only 19 years more than that, because the state exists since 1948, and the occupation is since 1967. So we only had 19 years without occupation and 43 years with the occupation. So you can almost say that the state of Israel, there's no state of Israel without occupation in the people's memory, and it's a very, very central issue. So if you're left-wing, first of all, you're against the occupation. If you're right-wing, you're for the occupation. More questions?
Do you think the military service can really break the future of every single Israeli guy?
You mean that it changes his personality?
No, I mean maybe because a 17 guy once he became I don't know a position but he has to become soldier, become a soldier.
Well, the army gives very nice opportunities for people. Even a physician, if you want to be a physician, you can be an army physician. So you can study. Like they pay the whole of your studies for being a physician, even 7 or 8 years. The army pays for you, and then when you finish it, you have to make your army service as an army doctor for 3 years, and then when you do your how do you call it when you make 1 year 1 month each year? We have it in Israel. When
In Italian sounds like richiamo.
okay.
Has it cold?
Cool. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's like when they call you again and again each year. Yeah. So when like my sister's husband, he's like in the army. Each year he goes for 1 month, usually to Hebron, and he's a physician for the army. And the rest of the year he's a physician in Hadassah, like a regular physician.
So the future of an Israeli person is to become what he, I don't know what he wants to. His life is always related with the army.
Yes, it's
Will be always related with the army.
Yes, like and also when you want to have a job, if you weren't in an elite unit in the army, then your chances are very low. It's like, it's so important. It's the first thing they ask you. First of all, I think most of the jobs in Israel, you can't be accepted if you weren't in the army. Because there is this expression, yotzei tzava. It's like people that were in the army. So a lot of jobs, they just, this is the way they even write it in the ad for wanted for the job. You know, they say we need people that got released from the army, and you know, this is a nice way to say we don't want Arabs in this job, and it's very, very common because Arabs don't go to the army except Druze and Bedouins, and Druze are considered collaborators in the Palestinian society because of that. They have many problems of their own. So the army gives you great chances. It's like, and also if you were in an elite unit like the commando, like the marine commando, like that was now in the flotilla, you know, you heard about the flotilla event from like for Gaza.
Hanno fatto l'attacco alla nave. Il comando.
So if you go to even to a high-tech company, and you say I was in the commando, so they will just hug you. You know, it's like, wow, so you're a very fine person. It's like the first thing they ask. It's so like in Israeli society, it's the most important thing to determine your value. Really, it's like. I see it with my brother even, that is like very close to my opinions, but still I see when he talks about his friends and about people, I see how much room it takes from his evaluation of people. It's so important. And even I had this argument with him about the commando soldiers from this last event in Gaza. So he said, well, anyway, but they're fine young people. And I'm like, what's fine about them? Okay, they're in good shape. They're, I don't know, maybe they have some courage. They have some qualities, but I don't think it's most important qualities. I mean, some of them are not, it doesn't determine whether you're fine or not if you were in the commando, but for Israeli people, it's very hard to explain that. Even my brother, who is a very open-minded person, it was hard for him to hear that. It was a hard conversation between the two.